everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk Leadership podcast. So I've got a very old friend of mine on the show, and it's David Sparling, who is CTO of Anchor Hanover Group. What happened?
Internet. It must be our internet.
Okay. What, did it go really bad?
Yeah.
It was all right for me, by the way.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So it's definitely our internet.
Yeah, it must be our internet.
It must be. It's Elly playing back to you.
Do you want me to grab Emma?
I don't know what else we can do other than we might have to reboot. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, sorry about this. Honestly, we never have any problems in the office. We could hotspot it from our phones.
Yeah, can try that out. I've only got 15% battery on my phone.
That would be really good.
What's that? Sorry.
Your phone, like your 4G, that would be really good if it to do it on 4G.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't know whether we should just reboot. It's funny because I've got 4 bars, so I don't know why. Could you not hear that? It was like a delay, and it was just kind of like intermittent when Elly was speaking.
It was fine. It was fine for me.
Oh, you've just frozen for me.
It was fine. I could. Yeah, Elly was fine for me.
Oh.
Internet drama.
Dave just froze as well. It says your internet connection is unstable, so it obviously is our internet.
Yeah.
Are you on TP2, Sandra? Or
Yeah.
TP?
Yeah, I'm on TP2. Oh.
Sandra?
Yeah.
Emma said try and transfer onto the TP internet.
Well, that one's saying it's weaker.
Oh, okay.
TP2 saying. Yeah, I've got 3 bars on TP and 4 bars on TP2, and I'm on TP2. Sorry.
No, right. No, it's part of life.
Tech issues.
Connectivity. It's always a problem.
All right, bye. You haven't got a thing caught in yours, have you?
What? I'm on TP2 and it's saying I've got full bars. Should we just try again?
Yeah, I can go on TP2 as well, Emma, if that's better.
Yeah, go into it and just see what.
What's the password for TP2?
Transition 12.
Transition 12, capital T.
I don't know why. Shouldn't be. It hasn't happened. It wasn't like that.
It hasn't happened to us at all. No. I was on a Teams call earlier and there was a delay, but I didn't know whether it was my delay or.
Yeah.
Right, sorry guys. Let's go around. I've just joined this one and it's saying my internet connection is unstable. Do you want to? Right, to be honest, I think it's probably best if I don't want to start it and then like have terrible signal. I'd rather us look at it and then rebook it in rather than waste your time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Had it before. We had when we were in lockdown. We had it before when a client came on, and then her internet wasn't good enough, and we recorded like most of it, and then it went terrible at the end. So we had to just rebook another hour in the rather than like wasting time now and then doing it again. Do you agree, Sandra? It's not worth it.
And I can try and go on to TP if you want and see if that's any better.
Okay, let's. I mean, that didn't flash up when I connected to that it was unstable. So I feel like mine looks all right now.
If it's your internet connection out, your Wi-Fi might be fine. It's just it could be just your internet connection out.
I'm on TP now.
You seem all right now.
Yeah, okay, let's give it another go then. Take 2.
Hold on, I'm just gonna. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk Leadership podcast. So this week we've got David Sparling on, who is the CTO of Anchor Hanover Group. So Dave is, we've known Dave for a few years now, from way back at the time when he was at HSBC, but he now works at Anchor Hanover Group, who are England's largest provider of care and housing for older people. They've been formed from a successful merger of Hanover Housing Association and the Anchor Trust. With more than 54,000 homes across 1,700 locations and supported by more than 9,000 colleagues, Anchor Hanover helps people enjoy later life. This is their passion, and it has been for more than 50 years now. So David has a real passion for people in tech, and his niche is driving teams to deliver solutions to solve business problems. And we couldn't be happier than to have you on the show today. So hi, David, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, David. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good.
Good.
The sun is shining, and yes, it's a good day.
It
Indeed,
is.
yeah.
It's a lovely day. Me and Sandra went out for lunch, actually, and it was beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is a rare occasion that we go out at lunch, isn't it? We normally just eat at our desks and skip lunch, so it was nice to enjoy a bit of sunshine.
Even just to go outside is nice to see. Just
Yeah,
see the real world.
definitely after the last couple of weeks of rain that we've had.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, as Elly said, it's great to have you on the show. I think we met a couple of years ago now when you were at the British Library. So it's nice to see you again.
Yeah.
It'd be really great to start the show off with telling the viewers and the listeners a little bit about you, your background, how you got into tech, and how how you built your career and your journey and got to where you are today.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So I wanted to do IT stuff from school. It was always but I always wanted to be a programmer. I was like the best job ever. And so when I came to university, I got a job as a programmer, and it was all I ever wanted to do. I never wanted to do anything else. And I was really lucky because I joined First Direct at the time when the internet boom was really beginning.
Yeah.
To be part of that kind of huge technology change was just amazing. And then so I was still programming and doing all sorts of bits and pieces. I had a massive opportunity to play about with infrastructure and everything else, which was for me a brilliant grounding for all things technology. And then I kind of worked out that designing systems was quite an important thing. So I gradually ended up in the architecture world and designing systems and getting involved in all of that sort of stuff. And then slowly, as architecture develops, as a practice kind of develops, it started me to think about kind of leadership roles. And actually, somebody I worked with who was a fantastic mentor to me once laughed his head off when he thought that I would be managing anybody. He said,
Really?
Absolutely hilarious that you'll be managing anybody.
He'd find it even funnier today that you're on a Let's Talk Leadership podcast then, wouldn't
you?
In all fairness to him, he came round eventually. And he actually gave me my first senior leadership role. So he came round in the end. But I took a job with I moved into I was head of solution architecture, head of architecture within HSBC UK, and I grew into kind of the architecture roles, and then got the opportunity to take much wider management roles, wider IT management roles, and it was kind of a logical progression. I didn't have a plan. I've never had a career plan. It was just a progression of things where I could find myself getting into more things, enjoying working with people, enjoying managing people, enjoying that success. And really when I think about it, I've changed quite a lot. I was, going back some time, as some of the people I've known much longer, I was kind of a proper cocky ass developer guy, right? Because I was the one at the sharp end and I knew how these things work. And I do feel I've kind of come it's been quite a long distance from that world to where I am now, which is, you know, technology leadership roles, which is, you know, and the biggest part of it is around leadership than anything else. And it's been fantastic for me to go to both work within HSBC Group of that huge organisation, to then switch to working for Capgemini for a spell, for as a consultancy was a great experience. Then the British Library, which a completely different world to anything that I'd experienced before, and then to this, which is, you know, quite, you know, so far, you know, I've been in this job 3 months, and it's a phenomenal organisation. And to see an organisation like Anchor Hanover, which has got care for people running right through its veins, and then to sort of then start to unpack the potential of technology to support that mission is really cool. It's really cool to get involved in that, and to, like I say, to the journey of my career has been, you know, from where I started to where I've ended up, it was certainly not by design. I've just kind of found myself here, but it's been fun.
Fantastic, brilliant. You've had some great roles there, brilliant companies. You've got worked in a variety of industries as well, haven't you? So, which is impressive. So, how are you finding your current role then at the moment? So, your new position, you joined Anchor during lockdown, at the start of lockdown, or not far off it. How's that gone for you, and what are your pain points at the moment? What challenges have you had within your current role?
I think the biggest challenge is starting in a new organisation and building a network. I think for most people in most of the companies, they've taken their network with them. And had to utilize technology like this more and more. But with Anchor Hanover, I've had to build that network in a remote way. I've not seen the sharp end of how our services are delivered, and it's so critical in a CTO role that you understand what that sharp end is. You understand how those services are delivered and how they're used. And because of the lockdown, it means that I can't get to grips with that. I've got to rely on other people to tell me, to give me that knowledge to be able to piece that together. So that bit is really, really hard. And it's difficult, because when starting a role like this, you have expectations. I have expectations of where I would expect to be. So particularly like 3 months, 100 days in, I'd have a view of where I would have liked to have been. And I'm probably a little bit behind where I would normally like to be at this point. But the management team at Anchor Hanover are fantastic, and they are, they've been phenomenally supportive and understanding. And in fact, who I work for, Kate's been saying, you just need to be patient. You need to calm down, be patient. And it's been great support. And I think that's really helped me through. But that's the biggest challenge I have, is just those person-to-person contacts that you take for granted it just doesn't quite work the same. And the other thing is, when you're trying to lead a team, there's a whole bunch of my team, the staff in IT who I've not met at all. So that the absence of that contact is quite difficult, and I have to be more organised and more like this. So it's interesting, but a real challenge at the moment.
I can only imagine, like, starting a new job and like interviewing throughout the process before you were joining. I'm sure you were like chomping at the bit. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then obviously COVID strikes, lockdown happens. It's a hugely, I guess, crazy time to work in the care and housing industry. The changes are happening so fast, I guess. It's, it must have been really frustrating. How big's the team at Anchor Hanover that you're managing?
Our team are around about, I think there's about 90 in IT. It's obviously it's fluctuating and changing as our service desk guys are doing a fantastic job supporting everybody remotely. Obviously as the turnover of staff and everything else. So we round about 90 people.
Yeah, and like you say, it's hard, isn't it? Being able to come in and you've got to gain trust as a leader, but you're not able to see anyone, which actually it leads me on quite nicely, because what I really want to know now is more about your leadership style and your approach. But it'll be also interesting to see what your approach is normally, but what your approach has had to be considering the circumstances and your introduction into the business.
Yeah, so I think from a style perspective, I think the key for me is just, and particularly when you're starting new, is that you've got to build a rapport. You've got to find out about people more than anything else, and you've got to build that rapport. And particularly coming into a new organisation, you've got to gather information, and it's questioning and being genuinely, I'm genuinely interested in how the organisation runs. It's fascinating to work out how it runs and how it works. And so the biggest thing is, and the biggest thing around anything in terms of management and leadership is you've got to build those relationships. You've got to just naturally find out about people. You read some leadership books and then they'll say, "Oh, take interest in people." Well, if you have to kind of tell people that, I think you're kind of losing it anyway. I think you've just got to be genuinely interested in people and interested in how they work, and building that trust is it's a bit of a time thing. And what I've tried to do is ask those questions, unpack things, question things, and you just got to do it in the right way. You've got to do it in a soft way. Don't start challenging things, going, "Well, I don't think we should be doing that." It's a crazy thing to do as somebody new in an organisation. And I think, and again with my team, I hope what I've done is I'm honest with them. I'm communicating with them. I'm just, I want to get to know who they are, what they do, how they can be successful, what they want to achieve, and all those sorts of things. Because then once you understand that, you get to understand how you deal with people in a different way. One thing I've learned is that you can't deal with everybody assuming they're going to be the same. You can't deal with everybody assuming they're going to be like you, because everybody thinks in a slightly different way. People, like Myers-Briggs will tell you about different character types and those sorts of things. So those relationships that you build with people, and particularly with people who work for you, because they're kind of looking to see how you work, is you've got to give them a bit of space. You've got to give them a bit of space to work. And certainly as you're coming new, just, it's about finding out and trusting what they do and building that relationship through trust. And hopefully so far so good with my new team.
Yeah, it's hard because you want to come in and take big steps and big strides and make improvements, but right now baby steps is certainly the way, and it seems like you've done a good job.
Yeah, and even without this, you've got to take small steps. Maybe lots of small steps, but you've got to take small steps. You've got to get your handle on a new organisation, because the IT's the same. A lot of the IT challenges are the same. When I've gone from organisation to organisation, the challenges are actually pretty much exactly the same. They're all slightly different, nuanced, but they're exactly the same sort of challenges. And so, me moving into different industries, in all honesty, IT is the same. The anti-patterns are still exactly the same. Every organisation makes the same mistakes, just in a different way. So navigating the IT bit's not the difficult thing. It's navigating how the IT meets the needs of the business and getting to understand the business. And I think doing that in a really soft way, and just taking lots of small steps to get there is absolutely the right way to, particularly starting as a leader in a new organisation. Take small steps. Start to gather information, and certainly don't come in kind of in week 1 or week 2 and go, right, I've decided we're going to do this, because you're probably wrong. In another couple of months' time, you'll go, actually, I now realise if I'd have done that then, I might have upset this person here, because they're very wedded to that. It's really important to them. you've got to build that up, and that's
you've got to sit back and observe, haven't you, and see what's going on, which is challenging when you can't go out and see the sites and the big. Because is the IT all based Bradford? Is it
predominantly? Yeah, but I mean we've got folks spread a little bit in the UK, but yeah, predominantly Bradford based. So yeah, some of those folks are working from home anyway. But yeah, the large populace is Bradford based.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how as a leader your skills adapt. And you said that when you first went into tech, you were a natural born programmer. You loved that, you enjoyed it. But then as you grew and developed, you found different areas that you enjoyed more, architecture, and then into more leadership style. But I think it's all of us learn a lot from the biggest mistakes or biggest project disasters that we've been involved in, that really that is where we learn the most as a leader. So can you tell us about that one project failure that still, if you think about it, makes you sweat, that you learned the most from, and you think our audience could learn a thing or two about today?
I think the biggest one I was involved in was it was a huge global initiative in HSBC. So the ambition was to roll a kind of single account opening platform out to the group, and I was at First Direct at the time, and my role grew actually on the project, and the size of the ambition of the project was just kind of eye-watering, and I think the biggest challenge was that it was what we were trying to do was complex. It was really complex. Because trying to deliver one system for several countries that are regulatory, they're very different. Culturally, they're all very different. So it was this huge project to try and deliver in such a scale, and really we were kind of at the implementation end of it in my First Direct days. And we spent, I mean, I remember spending, I think, a period of about 5 weeks working, well, more than 12-hour days. We were coming in at 7 and going home at goodness knows when for about 5 weeks to try and it was we couldn't get the thing to perform. We had to integrate with some of our other systems, and we just couldn't get the thing to perform. Yeah. And it was. And you know, to some extent, I was kind of at the sharp end of that, and I actually moved into I took on the role of leading the architecture for it for a spell as well, and so I was on a plane to New York and Chicago a bit to assist that whole the development. And I think the biggest thing with that was that it was the complexity was. We were trying to achieve too much. It was too complicated. It'd been just overthought in terms of what we needed to achieve, and also there was just so many people involved. Navigating so many people involved was just so difficult, and the pressure from above was huge. This was a multi-million-dollar investment for the organisation, and you know, standing back from that and being kind of more at the sharp end at that time and thinking from a delivering projects and leadership perspective, is that the fundamentals just weren't really. I don't think were there enough. And what I've learned over time is most projects, and you know, my new team will have heard me say this loads of times already. Most projects, I think, are set up for success in the first couple of months, and the biggest thing I've learned is just simplify. Don't overcomplicate, because the more you overcomplicate the problem in IT, the more uncertainty you bring. So simplify as much as you possibly can. Understand what your requirements are and understand what's achievable, and then map that out of how far you're going to get in a space of time. And the whole fail fast thing is so important, because what we didn't do there, I don't think we failed a few times along that journey, but we didn't fail fast and go, actually we've we probably got this a bit wrong, and we have to go back. We didn't go back to the start and go, did we get this right to start with? And that was a great learning lesson for me, because it was hideous at the time, but to kind of stand back and think about it, and particularly in the context of other projects where we've been much more successful, that's a massive piece for me. That how you initiate and step off on the right foot, and don't try and don't overcomplicate things. Just understand the fundamental problem, and don't overcomplicate it. Try and simplify it as much as you can.
That's it. Sometimes you just need to slow down a little bit and reflect and think more about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and the steps that you take, like you say, and then simplify. But it's difficult, isn't it, sometimes when you're in the thick of it, to see it from an outside position. And obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But that's where you recognise that there are areas that you could have delivered on that project better, that how you could have delivered on it more successfully, and it's how we all learn. It's how as great leaders we all learn, and we're continuously learning. Fantastic.
We rush to code as well. I mean, in IT, that's the other thing we do. We rush to code. We're desperate to get the code of coding, and that's another one that we let's just work out what we're trying to do.
Scope it properly.
Let's just work out.
Map it out, plan it properly.
It's what we're trying. Do we understand what the business requirement is? Do we understand what we're trying to deliver first? Okay, now then let the coders know. When you're ready, let the coders.
Do you still do some programming in your spare time?
I do a little bit. I'm a shocking coder now.
Really? Just out of practice?
I think I'm really lazy, so I do. It's just bits of scripting and things. I do little bits of Python and bits of Unix scripting, and
cool.
I'm a shocking coder though now, really.
It's nice to be able to keep it as like a thing in your back pocket, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's nice.
Yeah,
it's weird. I think because kind of the techie stuff has always been something I've enjoyed. Then the bits I do in my, I've got a big PC under my desk that's serves content around my house and things like that. It's always been. It's kind of like my shed. My office is my shed your
safe space.
I like to tinker with stuff, and it just I guess it's the geeky passion that started off when I was a kid, I guess.
That brings me quite nicely onto my next question, actually. Now we're talking about coding and tech. In your opinion, I'd be really interested to know what your thoughts are around the future of tech.
I think obviously, as everybody keeps saying, I saw quotes from people like Satya Nadella at Microsoft saying how the whole COVID thing had moved on the adoption of technology. I think the way technology is going is it's more user centric, I think, than it's ever been. And I think the consumption of technology it no longer feels to the vast population that they're dealing with a computer.
Yeah.
When I bought my first PC, it came, this beige thing arrived, and it was really intimidating. For people other than kind of myself who knew the way around it, it's really intimidating. And I think technology more and more is becoming less intimidating, and I think that path will continue. The whole Alexa thing is now it's an interface that's fundamentally a technology-driven interface, but the interface is now something you can talk to. It's a user getting what they need to get, and I think that change will continue. I think the whole AI piece is still developing into what real business solutions can be driven from it. So I think the AI piece will continue. I don't think Terminator is going to take over the world just yet. I think the potential for consumption of that, I think it will get cheaper. But I think that for me, that whole how people interact is going to change phenomenally. Like I say, particular voice activation and that sort of thing. It's getting better and better over time, and it'll continue that way. And I think those are the biggest exciting things that are going to happen in technology over the next few years.
Exciting stuff to come, then, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think it's interesting, like you say, before it was obvious that you were logging onto a computer and you were doing something tech related, whereas now it's just so immersed in life, even things like turning on your radio and things like that. People don't realize, you don't think, do you, consciously what you're doing and how entwined our life is with tech now, and that's only going to happen more and more so, which is so exciting.
Yeah, the line between the lines are blurring, and the whole Internet of Things thing is now starting. You know, when you buy a washer these days, you'll be able to connect it to your internet. So yeah, all of that tech, I think, is going to be it's just going to become more and more. And particularly as 5G comes in and connectivity becomes much more ubiquitous, the world will be more connected, but it'll be less noticeable you're using a computer.
Yeah, it's so exciting, isn't it? Exciting times. I would love to find out then, your new role, it's been interesting, just over 3 months in. What are you most excited about? So we love to finish the podcast by hearing about your plans and what's getting you excited at the moment. What have you got to look forward to personally and within work?
So I mean, I'm 3 months into a new job, and I'm 3 months into finding out about a whole new industry that I'd never been involved in before.
Which you clearly love as well, which is great. Like hearing you talk about it, you're clearly really passionate about it, which is amazing.
The thing with it is it's so the value and the value that is clearly delivered from our staff on a day-to-day basis in care homes, in our housing locations is phenomenal, and we through the internal intranet, and we've got a Facebook workplace. Just seeing some of the comments on there and just seeing what some of those guys are doing to really add value to people's lives in later life is really it's really motivational to be part of an organization that's delivering that. And then I think for me personally, to bring in what I'm bringing in, I think, into Anchor Hanover is a different view of technology. It's my experience has got different things that I think I can bring. And it's kind of back to that user experience thing, which is to be able to look at what our staff are doing, to look at what our customers' experience is, and how we can add value to that and bring technology to that to enrich their lives, in those care homes and housing properties, to enrich the staff's lives, to give them more opportunity to deliver that care, is really cool. And that's what really excites me, is that to have that opportunity to be involved in that is brilliant. It really is. So yeah, I'm still cool. I'm 3 months in. I'm still buzzing. Yes, I've found some gremlins under the carpets, of course. You always do that. But yeah, it's a really exciting organisation to be part of. It's good.
Yeah, I think that's lovely. You gave a really great, I think it was really great hearing you say that about the business. And like you say,
sounds like you're really passionate and excited about what you're doing, which is great. Particularly starting a new role and 3 months in during lockdown. Sounds like you're very excited and you've got lots of great things coming up.
Yeah, it's just absorbing that from people that you connect with, and just to absorb that and see that is it's really cool. And so yeah, I'm still buzzing. I think it's a fantastic job to do. So yeah, it's cool. It's good.
I think it's a world away from financial services, isn't it? But and the thing is,
a world away. It really is a world away.
It is, and the thing is, right now you haven't even had the full insight into what this looks like, and when things do open a little bit more, it will bring a whole new level of appreciation. But I think that's something that lockdown has done for everyone, isn't it? I think it's made people sit back and appreciate who the key workers really are, and all the amazing work they do for us. So it's nice to
Absolutely.
nice to be able to support that with tech, which is combining two really cool things there. So
Yeah.
love that. So it's been fantastic having you on the show and hearing your story, David. If anyone's got any questions or wants to reach out, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I would say, I mean, LinkedIn's pretty.
Yeah, just David Sparling at Anchor Hanover Group on LinkedIn. If anyone wants to reach out and ask David any questions about his leadership style, wants to find out more about all the cool work that he's up to at Anchor Hanover. But yeah, it's been fantastic having you on and great to catch up because obviously I've not spoken to you in a few years now. And it's been really interesting because I keep hearing, obviously we first spoke, must have been like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I hear your name pop up, and then we did a bit of recruitment for you at the British Library, which was super cool. And then obviously I know you speak to Emma regularly as well in our business. So fantastic work and great having you on the show.
Cool. Thanks, guys. It's been fun.
Fantastic. Great to have you on, Dave.
Take care. Bye.